respond quickly to the opportunities that exist and grab onto a catalyst or create it. Uber is the biggest example of aggregator. They don't own a single car, but they offer you a ride. You will feel like everything is on technology. Alright. This is an example that I picked up from a marketing journal where it essentially says that the more you can define your customer and the more you can understand your customer, the better chances are that your customer perspective could be relevant to the customer. So this is an example where they have looked at 18 to 35 and divided them into 18 to 24 and 25 to 34 and females versus males. The story of this is that this age group is more favorably disposed towards or buying brands and services from organizations who are actually spending and investing a lot of money on CSR. Now, if this insight, I have certain small breaks for you. I'll show you some clips from few popular Hindi movies, which illustrate a point which I would like to make in terms of what we are discussing today. Yeah.
Do you think retention is also very difficult?
Extremely difficult.
Because for us, we are capturing through our database that this customer is coming twice or twice, maybe more than that. So according to that, we are planning to retain the customer.
Good, Rajnish, you know what you don't do, for example, let's take grocery as a category, right? Now, how much grocery a 4-member family will consume will be different from a 2-member, will be different from an 8-member, right? We don't have customer insight to this extent. The person is buying twice, thrice, 5 times, but we no way can say whether she is buying the entire quantity from us.
It's a kind of basket analysis.
Yes. Is she buying anything from elsewhere? Now that you cannot do because where is she buying you don't know. Right?
We quantify in terms of 5,000 to 10,000 or 10,000 beyond. So it is like that, but not the
Right.
entire.
This is where analytics becomes meaningful. Like how do you package a basket of grocery, for example, for a 4-member family?
We consider that if in the basket there is a salt is there, then its entire monthly kind of basket is the customer is for coming from the monthly shopping.
Fair enough. That could be what your business dynamics suggests, which is fair. I am not saying that this is inadequate, this is not correct, it is correct. What I am saying is as we go forward, we need to look at data which is much more deep-filled. Today, if you see CRM is restricted to birthdays and anniversaries. Am I right? Of the main customer? But the customer, does he have a family? Will he feel delighted if his wife is wished on her birthday? Will he feel delighted if his son who's going for a class 12 exam is wished good luck at the time of his exam? Am I right or wrong? So what I'm trying to say is that we are still at that proverbial tip of the iceberg so far customer relationships is concerned. And as technology improves, as connectivity improves, as data improves, you know, one of the biggest problems in our country is data. We all have some amount of data, but look at the mass. There is such a huge population where hardly any data is available. Now with this Aadhaar card linking everything into a unified database, the possibilities which I see is humongous. And that is going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years. So what will happen is, for example, do you do an analysis? Let's say you have a Spencer store, let's take the one near bypass, Abhishek. What is the radius from which a customer is coming there?
3 kilometers.
3 kilometers. Is it uniform 3 kilometers? So therefore I am saying, is somebody, how many are coming from outside 3 kilometers? If so, why are they coming here? So there are a lot of questions which we need to continuously ask if we really want to refine our customer perspective. Because unless you can retain, you cannot make a customer your brand's advocate. Retention is the step towards advocacy. You can get a negative advocate by not retaining. But a positive advocacy is used in the positive sense of the word, will only happen if the customer remains with you and believes that he is getting something which is not getting elsewhere. You know, there is this entire cycle of discover, explore, buy, use, ask, engage, and finally going into brand champions. This is a Forrester survey which we are quoting from IBM. What we find that know your customer in terms of how much you know and what you know. At the discovery stage, 64% organizations are focusing on that. At the exploratory stage, that comes down to 46%. At the buy stage, because that's when the transaction takes place, 66% get into detailed KYC. However, during use stage, it goes down to 48%. We often do not ask our customers unless they speak. That goes down to 41%. Repurchase is only 25%, and only 26% are trying to know their customers when they have become brand champions. The point that I'm trying to make is, if you really want to be customer centric and you need to look at customer perspective in much details, you have to know your customer at every stage of this journey, because his expectations and his experience is changing. Whether it's B2C, B2B, utility, whichever way you look at it. I'll play a video as I had promised. This is for a very popular Hindi movie. Have a look, and then I'll tell you why I am trying to share this video with you. was a very classic example that you should know your customer before you lose it. Do you agree? You know, we wait and we lose opportunities. At the earliest opportunity, you need to know your customer. Otherwise, if you allow time to pass, this is what may happen, and you may have lost out on the customer totally, or maybe some important information that could have been relevant. So, customer service, customer perspective is all about the timeliness of action that you need to take if you want to know your customer. This is an example of, we call this understanding the 24-hour life cycle of a customer. If I go back to the Spencer's example, the way a 25-year-old housewife spends her 24 hours is different from a working lady spending it 24 hours. Even with a working lady, a school teacher spending her 24 hours, vis-a-vis an IT professional spending her 24 hours, vis-a-vis somebody who is operating out of home spending her 24 hours. Do you agree with me? So what happens is, in this brand journey, if you do not understand the 24 hours or his main time that he spends, you may not know when, where, and how to connect with him. When, where, and how to connect with him. For example, if Rajneesh realizes that there are a lot of mothers whose children go to Montessori school, are his customers, primary customers, one of the places that you can connect with them is outside a Montessori school. If you want to sample a brand, that could be a great place to do that. And brands like Maggi or similar brands are looking at these type of partnerships with modern trade as to, because the situation could be different in Bengal, it could be different in Mumbai, it could be different in Ranchi, and it could be different in Bilaspur. So the Spencer's Kolkata guideline to a mother of a Montessori going child could be different from a Spencer Ranchi's life cycle of a Montessori going school. So the point is, unless you understand the customer as to how he spends his time, where he spends his time, you will not be able to gather perspective about it. This is all about how a business class passenger is flying from London Heathrow to New York City. So all that he does before the flight, what does he do during the flight, and what does he do after the flight, and these marks and this presentation is all about where you can look at him in terms of creating a customer experience depending on the brand that you are trying to market. Are you understanding what I am trying to say? That customer perspective is much deeper than what we normally understand by it. I have taken two case studies from Ideal Analytics. This is problem statement is, once a heavy equipment is sold, there is a continuous service portion that kicks in. For each sold equipment, a bunch of services are on offer, namely spare parts, etc. So customer wants to use prescriptive analytics. Please mark this word. Prescriptive analytics to help their service staff proactively determine which service should be offered to which client and when. Relevant for your B2B marketing. So based on data, they will predict when the customer may need which type of a service. So the company which will do this successfully will have greater retention power, because you are helping your customer understand something before it is actually. Another example I have taken is a multinational company historically focused upon the creation of multimedia and creativity software products with a more recent foray towards cloud software. the company generates revenue from renewal of licenses 80% and new license sales. The profit statement is this company sells its on-plot product licenses in an annual payment cycle. Thus, maximum business is dependent on two things: renewal at the end of the annual cycle and upsell in the middle of the cycle. Right? Hence, it becomes important for the customer success managers to remain in touch with each customer at different stages during the annual cycle. Now, with thousands of customers, it becomes a real task for customer success managers to contact each customer at the appropriate time. This is where analytics steps in. Analytics is used to provide each customer success manager with a prioritized list of calls to be made each day, ensuring that his customer is contacted at the right time to ensure maximum revenue output. So, see how data is helping organizations to become more and more customer centric by deep diving and getting newer and newer customer perspectives. Alright? So where all can you understand modern customer? We know social platforms, online survey, some people give suggestions, browsing history. I mean, those of us who delete history after browsing thinking that nobody knows when I browse are perhaps not aware that we are being watched by anybody and everybody. Mobile activity, the type of clicks that they show on social media, and of course how they respond to certain types of content. Why I am showing this is, see, you have to reach out to customers to get feedback. Very often we are shy of that because we are not sure whether the feedback will be good or bad. It is something like if you are supposed to do an annual health checkup, you tend to postpone it thinking, if I don't know what's wrong with me, I am feeling better. Am I right or wrong? So what I am saying is, brand like CESC, you must look at very open customer feedback mechanisms and you must solicit feedback. Remember, if you reach out to 1 lakh customers, maybe 10 people will respond. We'll talk more about this as we go along. So customers are spending different time in terms of different social media. There are time they are spending on current affairs, time they are spending on searches, etc., etc. This becomes very important for digital marketing strategy for brands like Spencer's, brands like Saregama, extremely important for the digital marketing strategy. And one of the things that we are talking about is, while an organization will have a central digital marketing strategy, local outlets have to have their local digital marketing strategy because the constituent of population in local markets could be different. A Sector 5 Spencer's has a different digital marketing strategy as compared to a Bansroni Spencer's. Do you agree with me? Well, there are these different social media, and this study talks of which social media, how much percentage of customers trust what is written about brands on these social media. So if you see, Facebook has a very high percentage, 30% of the people who were interviewed who believe Facebook is a trustworthy source of about brands. Okay, customers will write customer reviews, influence customers' buying decision. Do you agree?
Yes.
And customer buying decision again influences customers' review. So therefore, the buying process, the post-purchase connectivity becomes so important so that the person who buys your brand posts a favorable review. Do you agree with me? So it's a cycle. Buy, review, review, buy, review, review, buy. So how do you manage this cycle? And in order to manage this cycle, your perspective of your customer has to be as well as it can hold. Again from Harvard Business Review, keep asking yourself few questions if you really want to be tuned into your customers. 4 questions. What are you best at. Why is Spencer different from, let's say, Moore? Similar, right? More or less similar. So, if a customer has a choice between a Moore and a Spencer, how will the person decide which one to go? One part is, of course, convenience, near my home. However, let's both the brands exist nearby, the customer can make a choice. So what it means essentially is that you have to decide what you are best at and drive that home as much as you can. One of the brands, if you have noticed, Big Bazaar, at one point of time started on the pure price platform. And now they have gone to FBB for the apparels and fashion this thing. What have they decided? That we will give you fashion at the most affordable price. So they are adding a new dimension to price. Whereas their groceries and other items are going still on the price platform, offers. That is different by offers. So the point that I'm trying to make is every brand needs to decide what you are best at and build on that. Can we observe opportunities for our customers that competitors don't? Is the second question. We consult with a hospital in South Calcutta. It's been on there for 3 to 4 years now with no success, so they have called us to turn around the hospital. So one of the things that we discovered is the social catchment around has a lot of geriatric patients. You know what is geriatric? Old patients. And in India, in Calcutta especially, if you look at the prevalence of diabetes, it's very high because we Bengalis love to eat sweets. A lot of us inherit diabetes, if not anything else, from our parents. And so what we have done is, we realized that one of the challenges that diabetic patient has is to remember and do his or her blood test at that frequency which the doctor wants him to do. Do you agree? Right? So now what we are looking at, we have now created something where it is you enroll for a diabetic annual package. My person will go and collect your blood. My person will go and give back your report. If you need to consult the doctor, you will get appointment on priority. If you want, I can send you a medical officer to your home. You get a discount on because of your annual package. Now that itself has given already in 2 months 1325 enrollments. So what is happening? It's not only this diabetic package that one is benefiting. If that gentleman or lady who is an elderly person needs hospitalization, where will he or she go? This hospital. So that was an opportunity which was around, which was available, which nobody was looking at. So you need to look at your customers and see what are the opportunities available which your competition is not tapping, and you could get in. That will help you to get new customers and more importantly retain them with you. Will your customers be able to live without you? Do you have a concept of drop dead succession planning in RPST group? Drop dead succession planning? No? I have worked in organizations where we have had drop dead succession planning. What happens if you die this moment? Who will succeed you in your team? And you need to build people with this drop dead succession planning. Nobody is indispensable. So the question you must ask is, if suppose tomorrow your brand doesn't exist or your company doesn't exist, will your customers be able to live without you? And the more difficult it is, the stronger your brand is. I often say that proof of a B2C brand is how far is the customer willing to travel. Yes. true for restaurants. You will see people drive miles to go have tadka and roti in that dhaba. Do you agree? So that's again a question of your brand pull. And this is the most important question that we must ask in today's context. Do we treat different customers differently? The zamana is gone where one single formula used to be enough for every customer. Do you agree with me? So this is all about individualization in a mass market. How much? Because every customer, look at us as customers. You go to a salon, my barber takes less time here than here. Right? And once I told him that he should give me a discount because he has to work so much less. He says that he should pay me a premium. Do you realize how carefully I have to use the scissors? One cut here and there everything can go up the journey. Look at it this way. Let's look at IMI as a brand. Your brand, right? Now there are visiting professors who come and teach here. Every visiting professor has his or her own wish list. That somebody needs a laptop, somebody needs a board, somebody needs a speaker, somebody likes to have a cup of tea as soon as he comes in. Am I right or wrong? Now, and that could be different from some other professor who's coming in. So therefore, if IMI has to be customer centric, if his customer's perspective is well defined, then every professor who's visiting this institute should have a personal profile which is documented, and there should be somebody who should work and give him service based on that personal profile. That is when you are trying to individualize your customers' requirements. Are you getting my point? Look at another example. If you book on, let's say, Make My Trip or Go IBO, any of those, and the algorithm sees that you often book tickets from Delhi, Calcutta, Delhi and back. The moment you log in, remarketing comes in. Am I right or wrong? This is all about customer perspectives. When you type something on a mobile, automatically the word gets formulated. What is it? Predictive. Predictivity is what? It's all about customer perspective. You will see a non-English word also, if you have used it a number of times, it becomes a predictive word. Again, customer perspective. Somebody thought that this could be helpful for the customer. Are you getting my point? So therefore, every customer is different, is unique, and therefore what you do to serve that customer has to be customized to him.
But if I offer everything to everybody,
You should not. That's why you need that canvas. You have to understand what is most necessary and valuable to a customer and then offer that. In fact, B2B marketing, one of the things that we do in B2B product sales team training program is to understand what Dhruva said, that you have a basket of things to offer. And what customer A may find useful may not be so useful for customer B. And therefore you need to highlight that. I'll give you an example. Without digressing to the topic. Have you ever gone to an automobile showroom to buy a car? Have you gone? All of you? Yeah? A good trained sales consultant, as they call them, you normally going to a brand within a brand. Let's say WagonR in Maruti. Right? So you've done your research, homework, etc., and finally you've gone there. A good sales consultant, if he is well trained, he will ask you 2 or 3 very critical questions. First question is, sir, will you be driving the car yourself? If the answer is yes, he will open the front door and say, sir, please, why don't you take a seat? And then he will go to the other door and get in next to the seat next to you, and he will demonstrate everything that a driver needs to. Right? But if the answer is no, I will not drive, my chauffeur will drive, he will hold back the rear door and say, sir, please step in. And he will get in from the other side. He'll switch on the AC and see, sir, how comfortable it is. Look at the leg space. So the value is there. Same value is there in the entire car. But what is being demonstrated is what is relevant. And if the person is tall, the person is, sir, see, Wagoner, tall boy car. Easier for you to get in and get out. But will you say that to a person who is not so tall? No. So the point that I am trying to make is, unless you understand what is valuable to the customer, you will not be able to give him what he considers valuable. Now that's a different chapter altogether.
Sir,
Now,
I am receiving several SMS. I think everybody is getting that. Giving different offer from different
aren't you so
And
irritated?
I am not even reading the offers. Just I am deleting it without reading.
It is actually an irritation. Calls, SMS. So what is happening? These people, these brands are firing randomly. And it's the same SMS is going to everybody. It will not work. They are misusing technology.
So actually, my question is regarding the first part of this question. The first part was, what are you
Best at?
most of best at? See, I am considering my case here. In my case, my immediate customer is planning department.
Right?
Planning department makes a plan which
Right.
contains a timeline,
Right.
and at the same time it has some financial budget.
Correct.
Yeah. At the end of the year, what is planning's expectation from me? That I will complete the project within the given timeline and within the given budget.
Correct.
That is the expectation of planning department from me.
Right. Unless you
Why?
achieve this KRA of yours, he doesn't achieve his KRA.
Yeah.
Have I spoken the correct language?
Yeah, you are written correctly. So regarding the first part is why they want that I complete the project in timeline, because lots of equipment have been procured for the year which needs to be capitalized within that financial year itself.
Agreed.
Otherwise, what will happen? Work in progress or depreciation on the part of the equipment will go on,
Right.
and ultimately we will incur losses in that respect.
Correct.
That is one part. That is a financial part of that.
Correct.
And if we consider why they want us to complete the project within cost, given cost, because they have got a fixed budget for that financial year. So they want that the project should be completed within that given cost budget.
Correct.
Right? So in that case, what should be our priority? Evaluation, you told that for different customers, expectations may be different, so parameters may be different.
Right.
For the same customer again, parameters may be different.
Right.
So what parameter I should give priority if they, both of them are basically supporting the same objective of the organization?
See, I think to answer your question, if I've understood it correctly, your customer internally is the planning department who wants that a project should be installed, if I may use the word, within a time in the given cost. Right? Is your KRA any different? So that's the alignment. I'm glad your organization works this way. I can give you innumerable examples where KRAs between interdepartmental customer relationship, if I may use that